So as I previously stated, we have resolved an issue with the drive card. I do have a good power supply drive. I put in the rectifiers to go ahead and build rail voltage, and well, of course, since I fixed the original complaint of the board, I still had to find the original problem of the board. So I installed the rectifiers. I had good rail voltage, positive and negative building here, but I had a short. I thought it was a short. I'm gonna call this the sub channel, obviously because it has a larger power supply. So there was an issue on the rectification of this half of the amplifier. So I moved on to find the original problem of the output section. As usual, I removed all the output transistors. That's in my opinion, the easiest way to start an output repair is just to remove any potential problems. So I removed all the output transistors, the 4-channel TIP 35 and 36s. These were all powering up great. The PIC is still functional, but again, something was shorted and actually sending 6 volts back to the drive card, shutting the drive card down. So I had a problem with something on this side sending 6 volts to the power supply card. So what I did is I just took some wires, some alligator clips, and I clipped 12 volts to the positive and negative over here off of my 2 amp current limited supply, and just fed direct 12 volts into this side. So what I found is on that 12 volts that I was injecting, I was getting 6 volts back to the pins of the drive card. So I just started following the pins back, and it came back to a trace. So I have a parallel set of transistors that were in this location. So I was reading 47 ohms between the collector and emitter, and I was reading 0 ohms between the base and the emitter. So I knew something was wrong right in this area of the transistors coming directly from the drive card. There was a short here. So what I did is I removed these. These are the 3198s, just to see if one of these 3198s were shorted. So I do show a shorted transistor here across all 3 pins. And again, you know, I really enjoy this tester. It's probably a knockoff one, but it does still tell me when a device is faulty. So that was one of the 3198s that was in parallel, and here is the other 3198 that was in parallel. So you can see that one of them was shorted. So now if I take my fluke here and read across the terminals of the 2 locations of these transistors, I no longer have a short across the pads. I'm going to bet, I don't know for sure, I'm going to bet that this is part of a protection circuit. Just because it's in parallel, so they need a little bit more current capability here, so I'm assuming it's probably part of the protection circuit. I don't have enough time to reverse engineer every board that comes in, so I just get down to finding just the problem, fixing the problem, so I can get this board back on the road. So what I'm going to do is put new rectifiers in. I'll put 2 new 3198s in, and we'll fire this board up. We'll see where it goes from there. Be right back with you. Alright, so I got the new 3198s installed here. I've got 2 new rectifiers installed for the subwoofer channel. And let's make sure that I don't have my 47 ohm short anymore. Alright, so what I had, again, was I had 47 ohms short across these 2 C3198s. And now we are looking perfect. No more short. The short is gone. I just want to make sure that my trace is still intact. Going back to the drive card here. And it is. So it looks like we are all set up and good to go. Hopefully there's nothing shorted before this. Alright, so tracing back further, so there was another transistor up the line from these two shorted 3198s. So if you follow the path going back to the drive card, it goes up through, looks like a decoupling capacitor here. Could be almost like a soft start. They do have, not sure what you think the soft start would be on the drive card, but this could be part of a soft start. Well, but I digress. So what I did is I just traced back up from this capacitor, the negative side, back up to a couple more vias and to another transistor here, and lo and behold, I have another transistor shorted direct across the leg. So 1 ohm, yeah. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't have a resistor across that, which I highly doubt it because it's showing 1 ohm. So it does. So one side goes through a decoupling capacitor back to a resistor, but even at that resistor is a 30K resistor in circuit, I should say. So, well, it's actually charging, it looks like it's charging part of the rail capacitance there. But across this transistor is a dead short. So what I'm going to do is replace this transistor also, which is another, this is a 3200. So what I'm going to do is replace this transistor here, which is a C3200, and see if that clears the problem up. And I don't think there's any transistors above that. No, from there it does go to the, oh, lo and behold, it goes to the output. Oh, fancy that. It goes to the emitter of this transistor, which this transistor was not in when I got the board. So it goes to the emitter of this transistor, which obviously shows me that since this transistor was removed, it damaged this transistor, Q265, so this is shorted, which in turn sent that emitter voltage down through the capacitor, which took out these two 3198s, which then came through and dumped all that rail voltage back into the drive card. So, hence why the drive card needed to be rebuilt. So it kind of shows you how a short will cascade through your whole circuit. So that is starting to make sense. So I'm going to replace this. I'll be right back with you guys again. Alright, so I got that 3200 replaced, and I just wanted to show you guys the old 3200. So here's my good old dandy meter, and I'm just going to go ahead and run a test on this. So that 3200, oh, there it is, showing as a short. And come to find out, now that I'm thinking a little bit clearer here, when you see a transistor like this across the emitter, and you're going to find a transistor like that across the emitter on each channel, what does that kind of tell you? Well, it tells me that these 3200s are your overcurrent protection, which makes sense. So overcurrent on one channel destroyed one transistor. Transistor shorts out the overcurrent protection transistor, which what does the overcurrent do when it senses an overcurrent? Goes through a set of transistors that shuts down your power supply card. Alright, so the gift of a short just keeps on giving. That's going to be the word of the day. So we're going to proceed through this overcurrent protection circuit here. Again, comes through the emitter, goes through this transistor, this C3200. Well, this C3200 off this via also goes to this C3200. It wasn't showing a direct short with the meter, but it was showing 1.4 to 1.2 volts across that 3200 in both directions. So I pulled the 3200 out, and this is what it was. There you go. So there's, and when I put it in resistance mode, that was about the resistance I was reading across that 3200. Sorry, I don't have the base collector emitter memorized on these, so I don't know which pin configuration that is. I'd have to pull the data sheet up on it. My brain would be too full of information if I tried to memorize all these transistors. So yep, replace that. Is there anything more upline from that? I don't know. I work step by step on amplifiers. I don't go and replace everything on the board. It's just I don't have the time to do that, and really, if you start replacing everything on a board, you can make a mistake and not know where you made it. So I work one step at a time through the circuit. So again, I'm just going to check the rail voltage and see. Oh, and there we go. The positive rail voltage has stayed positive for the first time now. So let's go ahead and see if I get a red light. And I do get a red light on the power supply. There it is, guys. I have full rail voltage again on this amplifier. So we have been successful at repairing this board. Just the power supply, though. Still have to verify that the PIC is still functional. It looks like it is integrated with the inputs, and put the put the output transistors back in circuit, TIP35s and TIP36s, and excellent. And go from there. I'll be right back with you guys. We'll get this thing fired up. Alright, welcome back. So, as you can see, I have installed the new TIP35 and 36s in the output section. I do have it, I don't know the controls of this amplifier, but it looks like I'm in a 2-channel mode, and just by looking at the wear of the inputs, I do believe that these 4 RCA inputs are the 2-channel mode, and this is going to be your 5th channel, I'm assuming. Which doesn't matter because I can swap these around. These are all coming from a single input source. Right now I'm just going to fire up the power supply and make sure none of my outputs are heating up using the FLIR infrared thermal imager, the TG167. It's an excellent imager. I do have a video about the little quirks about this, but otherwise it works really good. So I'm just going to fire up the power supply here. I'm going to make sure that the TIP35 and 36s are not heating up, which they look like they're doing well. Okay, so that's looking good. The TIPs were not heating up at all, and that was with a 50 hertz input signal coming in. So we're going to ground the scope here, and we're just going to check the output signals and see if I have an output on these. Oh yeah, we have a signal. So you'll see the scope there that we do have an input signal. Sorry for my arm across the camera there. 50 hertz. Looking great, looking great. So I am going to have to call this a successful repair. We're looking good. Signal at the bases, signal at the bases. Let me check the signal at the base of the subchannel. Looking good. You will see that the subchannel, of course, is higher in amplitude because it is the subchannel. Let me check the bases over here. So we're looking great. So the PIC survived the failure of this board. Input's good. I just had to replace several of the overcurrent protection transistors, these C3200s, GRs. So Tex, if you have any C3200s available for sale, please let me know down below or shoot me an email directly. But I am looking for these. I'm running a little low on the 3200s. And I can't remember where I got my 3200s from. It might have been UT Source, and I really don't like ordering from UT Source. So hit me up if you do have some 3200s available. Again, this amplifier's done. I don't know which Orion this is, but it is a 5-channel Orion board. Thank you for viewing. Please like and subscribe. If you like repair content, I try to release as much as possible, depending on how busy I am. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, leave them down below, and I'll get right back to you. Thank you for viewing.